What's up everyone? Today we're going to be installing the new Koni GTS Coilovers on a GR86. Alright, so first off we're going to start in the front. We're going to take this wheel off to get to the coilover behind it. I found it easiest to just loosen up these three 12mm bolts at the top of the hat. Just a finger tight so that way that the old strut doesn't fall down through and you can catch it and take it off that way. Then we're going to come down into here to take care of this 12mm bolt holding on the brake hose. We're going to get that out of the way next. Now with that out of the way, we're going to go put this bolt on our new strut, that way we don't lose it. Then we're going to take off the sway bar end link here. That's going to be a 17mm for the nut, and then a 5mm Allen key for the center shaft here. We're going to take this completely off, top and the bottom. And then once that is off and out, we can actually set that aside as Koni provided new sway bar end links. Now we're going to take off this top 19mm nut and bolt to get us better access to these two clips here to take them off. And then when you take this off, keep in mind that this top bolt is a little slightly different. It does have a wider base here, so this one is going to be the top. This bottom one is a lot thinner, so keep that in mind for the top. Now with this bolt out of the way, you can see that there's a lot better access to the clip here, so that we can push down on the top and pull this clip out. Same thing with this bottom one, so I'm going to do that now. Alright, now that we have both of these clips out of the way, as you can see, they got that push tabs at the top and the bottom here. You can use, like I said, a pick, screwdriver, or pliers, whatever you can use best to fit in that hole there. Then we're just going to push this out of the way, and then we're going to take care of this bottom bolt. Before doing that, I do recommend supporting the hub here with either a bungee or rope or anything that you have to pretty much hold this up, because once we take this bolt out, this whole thing is going to fall forward, so make sure you secure that. And then again, same thing, this is going to be a 19mm bolt and nut, so we're just going to pop that out and then we'll allow this to fall forward. And now as you can see, we were able to free up the strut here, and it is loose. That's why we kept those bolts at the top finger tight. So now we're just going to lower it down a little bit and then take off those remaining nuts to get the rest of the strut out. And as you can see, we got those three nuts out. We can just pull the whole strut assembly down and out. So now we have that old strut out. And then when you're installing the new ones, keep in mind that this is going to be on the inside, so you just rotate this hat if it doesn't align properly with the rest of the strut. And then it's good practice to keep these three nuts just finger tight until you have the full vehicle's weight on it. So that's all we're going to do right now. And we're going to come back to these later to tighten them down. And then for the install of this, we're pretty much going to do everything in the reverse order. So I'm going to start off by putting in this bottom bolt down in here. Again, keep in mind the bolt that we're going to use on the bottom here is going to be that one with the thin shaft. So we're going to just secure that in there. And then we can put in this top bolt. And then we're just going to crank both of these bolts on there nice and tight. Then we can just take this wire right here again and clip it back in here. Then we're going to return down here to this 12mm bolt, and we're going to just tighten that back up. Then we're going to take the Koni provided sway bar end link. As you can see, it is a little bit shorter, as the bracket sits a little lower than the OEM one does. And if this is your first time installing sway bar end links, it is a good idea to have the other side either undone, so that the sway bar will sit loosely. In this case, I already have the coilovers installed on the other side, so it sits exactly where it should be, so install will be easy. And then to tighten down, you're going to need a 19mm wrench for the nut, and then the Allen key is actually a little different, and it's going to be a 5mm. So then you're just going to tighten that down. And then for the rear, we're going to, again, lower the vehicle and get access to the top of the strut mounts here. In my case, I'm going to have to remove my strut brace. So I'm going to do that now and get it down to bare bones. So just take all of this out and the styrofoam at the bottom. Alright, and then again, once you get all this cleared out of the way and you have access to these two bolts here, we're going to do the same thing that we did to the front. We're going to just loosen these to finger tight, so that way the strut doesn't just fall out. So I'm going to loosen both of these 14mm bolts to about finger tight, so that way I have wiggle room with the strut. Alright, and then coming on the bottom here, it's pretty simple here. We got 3 bolts that we got to take care of. We're going to have a 14mm bolt here, and then both of these 17mm bolts. That will allow this control arm to swing down, and we'll be able to pop out the strut. So I'm going to take care of that now, and I'll show you what it's going to look like at the end. Alright, so now once we have all the bolts off here, again, we got this all nice and loose, so we're going to have access to pulling this out. I'm going to lower the car down now and take off those 2 bolts that we left loose on the top now, so that this can come out. Alright, now I've just removed those 2 nuts, like I said. Very important, keep the strut into that lower control arm there, so that way it doesn't just fall out. Now I'm just going to raise it back up now and pull out the old strut and put in the new one. Alright, and on the new one, we're going to make sure we take the hardware off the top bolts here, and then make sure that the bottom is in a line just like this, and then we're going to throw it up in there. Alright, so now once we get the holes all lined up on the top there, I'm just going to rest it on the lower control arm here, so that it helps hold it up there. So when I lower it down, I can put the nuts on the bolts up top and screw it all in. And now in my case here, I'm going to make sure I reinstall my strut brace here, and then I'm going to do the washer and the nut. If you do not have a strut brace, don't worry, you're just going to skip that step and just put the washer and nuts on, and we're just going to go hand tight, just like the front. And then for reinstallation here, we're going to start off on the sway bar end link here, and we're going to work our way down to these bolts here. And then once you get all these bolts all nice, tight, and secure, this is when you would make your ride height adjustments. Alright, and then you can put your wheels back on, tighten them all down, drop it back onto the ground, and then come back to the top here. And like I had mentioned, you want to tighten these bolts down now that the full weight of the vehicle is on there. And then after you have all those bolts tightened down, you're ready for an alignment, and you're good to go. I hope this helped you out, and have a good day.